Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani. Welcome to StudyIQ, and here we are starting a huge thing with a bang. It's the Mission 2020 and IAS as the written here. This word is very important. Many aspirations, many dreams are associated with this particular word. And you see, what is the best thing if you talk about IAS? That is the preparation and the daily preparation. Something which is consistent. Something is adding daily in your preparation, and that should be genuine, that should be very much conceptual, and the understanding that should be raised with your effort. So this is going to be the best effort. Mission 2020 we are calling it, and it is going to be the daily UPSC MCQ series. My name is Amit Sani. The people who don't know me, I bring the daily Hindu analysis video in the morning in Hindi and English, both languages, and I used to take PIB lessons for daily. Now I'm gonna start this MCQ series on StudyIQ's dedicated and hard-working platform. We all know for the UPSC examination, this is the best platform to follow things here, and for the current affair issues, this is the best platform. Here we will take some static questions and some current affair questions, and we will discuss all these things in much depth with all their explanations, and it will be represented to you in premier form. So 1st of June it is, and we will not waste our time. Let's start this. Best of luck to you, best of luck for me also, because I will need your feedback every day. We will want to improve here, and I'm not the best person. I always say I have many lacks inside me, so you will be here to tell me about that, and I will try to improve every day here. So let's start. These are the pendrive courses by StudyIQ, and you can follow them here calling on these numbers, and the website address is also given. These courses are available at off, I think, and they are very importantly created by experts and selected people. So this is a thing that is going to be very much beneficial for the people who are appearing next year or next to next year, or maybe next to next year, the people who are pursuing their graduation and all. So this is the best help. Stay at your home, just have a mobile or a laptop, and just go on with your preparation. The dedication, that is the thing that you all need to have here, and these are the best helps. Now question 1, as per the latest report of task force on shell companies, consider the following statements. You read the statements, and I will give you 5-6 seconds, and then I will be giving you answers here. Shell company, I give you the context here. We learn about these shell companies many times in the past, and during the election bonds issue, it was there where many restrictions were removed from the companies who wanted to buy these bonds, and they would want to donate the money to election parties and all. So it became a huge issue because there was a threat that maybe shell companies will be there, because all these transactions will be secretive, and they do not want to reveal it to normal public that who is giving money to whom, and there may be nexuses between the companies and the parties, and if this funding is going to some party in the major percentage or not, or are there going to be shell companies who will invest their black money in the election funding also. So these were the issues which were making the process very much opaque. And here these are the same shell companies. So the clear definition is not given anywhere in any act. So now a task force was created, and that was defining on some parameters. Key parameters were taken, and shell companies, it's a corporate entity for sure, but only on the papers, and it is most of the times created on the papers without having any physical assets and without having any business operations here, and it will aim for some kind of a profit for some unknown entity, because the real beneficiary is hidden behind the doors, and this company would be on the papers only, and that is specially created taking advantage of some loopholes, and it is created for making profit there, and just to escape from some taxing and all. And this shell company is majorly used for some frauds there, so that's why it has a very negative image. Beneficial ownership and the nature of business dealings are the key parameters to define a shell company. There are key 18 parameters, and these are among them. SFIO, shell companies will be done by Serious Fraud Investigation Office. This is a very important statutory corporate investigating agency, and here that is the correct option. First option is not correct. This is wrong. Why? Because it does not have any active business operation or significant asset, as I explained to you. So the answer would be 2 and 3 only. B. You can see here whatever I have explained to you, this is all given here. A company that lacks beneficial ownership, and the actual aim is only hiding the main ownership there, and that is why these companies are created on the papers. You will have all the assets on the papers, but on the ground you will not find anything there. So this is always used for some money laundering issues, black money issues, and now maybe in the election funding also, and maybe in this election also there may have many shell companies, because all the restrictions were removed, and all the limits were also removed from funding, that any company can give funds to these election parties and all. So that was the case, and 18 key parameters are taken here, including the beneficiary ownership and the nature of business dealing. On the basis of these parameters, they will define the shell company. Otherwise, the definition is not given anywhere. There are repetitive transactions with no apparent business purposes. These are the characters of these shell companies, because these things are normally associated with their businesses. Okay, any company that transfers large sums to a related party and makes disproportionate investment in shares of other companies, or one with the dubious directors, could also be termed as shell entities. So it is also one of the definition. So many definitions are given here, and you see the compilation of the database that would be recommended by SFIO, the Serious Fraud Investigating Office. So we will learn about this SFIO, as it is going to be very important. Why? Because the term shell company has not been defined anywhere under any income tax or the Companies Act of 13 here. So that's the case, that's the problem here. You see, SFIO created in 2003. It's a statutory body. Companies Act 1956 at that time was important regarding that, and the Companies Act 2013 that had accorded the statutory status to this particular SFIO body. You see, when there is an act involved and that act is defining a particular body, then we may call it a statutory body, because in the statute, in the act, that is defined. So that is the case of statutory bodies, and it is such body, and under the jurisdiction of Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Government of India, and it's a coordinating agency with the Income Tax Department and CBI body. So it is coordinating, because the main work is regarding the financial transactions and regarding the identity of these companies and all these financial frauds and all. So CBI, Income Tax Department, they are at the core of it, and it is coordinating with these agencies. And importantly, it is a multidisciplinary organizations having experts from financial sector, capital market, accountancy, forensic audit, taxation. So they all are needed here, and they are contributing in this expert area here. You see experts from a SEBI, SCAG, all are taken here. Naresh Chandra committee was crucial for that, and that was on corporate governance, and that suggested here to set up this particular body here, because many companies, many issues were reported at that time during the Vajpayee's government. So SFIO was created at that time. So that's very important, and it's a relevant issue. Always you will see current affair issues regarding these topics. Next, it's a history question, commercialization of agriculture. That was an iconic issue during the Britishers' time. And first time it happened, like first time land became the privatized commodity, and people used to sell it, buy it. These things happened during Britishers' time, and it was for the first time. And all these issues, they brought this particular phase where commercialization of the agriculture that happened in India. Before that, people used to do these trades in the barter system only, and they were not caring about the cash crops and all, and the agriculture was not that much beneficial a thing and commercially beneficial. So these all concepts came by Britishers only. Okay, mainly subsistence agriculture used to happen there, and the revenue systems were very much basic, and they all belong to the medieval times and all. But all these things, they were connected, and they had their backgrounds as a development in the industrial revolution, because Britishers, they brought these issues here, and they wanted raw material from India. So they connected this raw material to the industrial revolution there in Britain. So this question talks about all the issues, and the answer would be same here, because all these things, all these issues, they were the factors that increased the pace of the commercialization of the agriculture here. Okay, so D would be the answer here. Okay, American Civil War, it actually brought about the commercialization of agriculture. It actually isolated it in a way, and they needed cotton a lot at that time. And the export of cotton that jumped from 5 lakh bales in 1859 to 12.6 lakhs bales in 1865, means more than doubled within 6 years. Export of rice, wheat and other food grains also increased. So this all happened because of this American Civil War, where you see it was a British colony in the starting, and it had many issues. And when all these issues appeared and all these crises, they were there, so they demanded all these raw materials from India, which was ready for this export. Okay, and the opening of the Suez Canal in 1869, that was a major issue. You see the Suez Canal's location here. This is Suez Canal, port size is there. This is Red Sea, Bab el Mandab, Gulf of Aden here, and Socotra Islands, and this is the Gulf region. And you see, important thing is that first they used to circle Africa and they used to reach Mumbai here, or maybe Calcutta port. That was much more important. So it was a distance of 12,300 miles. You can see the route here. When the Suez Canal was opened, then it actually left only 7,200 miles. So a huge difference in the distance between London and Mumbai, or maybe London and Calcutta. So what it did, it actually did a particular thing where some developments were going on. Steam boats were coming up, and when the distance that got lessened, and after that a lot of competition came in this area. So it was a kind of a depression in the shipping industry also in Britain, and huge competition that came because of the opening of the Suez Canal. So this was also a reason that much activity was there with the Indian mainland, and they were ready to trade with this particular subcontinent of India, and they needed a lot of raw material from here, and that became much more easier to get from there. So that is the case. So the opening of Suez Canal, that made the access very smooth and very easy. So that, and all other reasons, you see these are mentioned here, and you can read all the text here. All are genuine reasons, and as I told you, cash crops became much more important. They became a particular thing which were not there in the Indian agriculture. They were more dependent on the staple crops and all, and that was a very basic system of barter system. But that all came in the terms of money system, and the trade happened. The revenues and all, they were collected in the terms of money, and cash crops became a phenomena because they were hailed as raw material for the first time. Next, we move towards the next question, isostasy. You see, it is a geography based question, a very important one. You see, if we see anything as blocks in the water, then if they are dropped into some kind of pond or some water body, then they are settled according to their weights. If weight is more, then that particular block would be under the water. As it is there above the water, the same length or the particular weight would be there below the surface also. If it is a lighter one, then it will be less drowned in the water, and if it may be a smaller body but having much more density and much more weight, then also it will go down into the water, and it may be having a larger volume above the surface, but the weight is not that much because of the less density, then it will go less in the water. So this issue is balanced in the terms of Earth's layers also. The outermost layer is the crust, then comes the metal, the mantle, but between the crust and the mantle there is asthenosphere, and that's a plastic layer, and in this plastic layer this is adjusted here. And this phenomena is explained by various geologists like Airy and Pratt. They have given their theories regarding isostasy. So this isostasy is a kind of a balance issue. Okay, and this first statement is correct. Upraised parts of Earth is balanced by downset parts of the Earth, and this is a phenomena. Second phenomena is a different one. Sea floor spreading occurs at mid-oceanic ridges where plates diverge to form new crust. Is it true? So you tell me in the comment section. I'll give you 1-2 seconds. Now I tell you, this is a very interesting phenomena because there are two kinds of boundaries. There are continental plates, major plates, smaller plates are there on the Earth as a body. So if you see in this picture, it's Africa's plate, it is South America's plate. They are major plates, and some plates are coming towards each other. These are converging boundaries. Himalaya was created due to this converging boundary movement. Indian plate hit at this Eurasian plate, and Himalaya was created. They both were continental plates. That's why it was a rise. There was no submergence. No plate went under the other. So that happened because these both were same plates, continental plates, Indian plate and the Eurasian mass. So that was a converging boundary. Some boundaries are diverging, means they are going away from each other. So Africa's plate and South America's plate, they are going away from each other. So when they are going away, then they are creating a rift here. And out of this particular fissure, the pressure which is there under it, that will come out, and this lava will create a lot of small mountains like structures. And you see this is happening all across the length of the Atlantic Ocean, which is having an S-shaped. So across this S-shape design in the middle here, where this plate boundary is there, where they are separating from each other, where they are going away from each other. So it's a sea floor spreading, because the sea floor is going away from each other. So it's a sea floor spreading. So all across the length, these ridges, mountain ridges are there. These are called mid-oceanic ridge or the mid-Atlantic ridge. And why that happened? Because of the plate boundary movement, the diverging movement. So the lava, which has a lot of pressure here, and that is in the molten form here under the surface, that come out, and that is solidified in the form of these ridges. So the younger ones will be found in the middle, and because the movement is going on and they are moving away from each other, so the older rocks which were created lakhs of years back, they will be found here, and the oldest ones, they will be found here. So this is the way it is spreading. You can see this thing happening in the real life, but this is taking lakhs of years. After crores of years from now on, you will have the biggest ocean as the Atlantic Ocean, and Pacific Ocean will be the smallest ones. Why? Because Pacific Ocean, if you talk about it, this is Asia, this is North America here, this is South America here, South America here. So Pacific Ocean is going under these continental plates, because oceanic plate is much more denser. So denser plate will go under the lighter ones. Lighter ones are the continental plates. So this is going under them, and in the end, what is going to happen? There will be no Pacific Ocean, and this Atlantic Ocean will be the biggest ones. This plate movement is going on, and you see, if it is creating a new crust here, then somewhere some crust would be disappearing. Where it is going on? It is going on, like I said, on the boundaries where convergence is happening. Where it is happening? It is happening on the Pacific coast, and you may say it is South America's western border, and it is Pacific Ocean. So here the trenches are created. Why trenches are created? Because this dense mass of oceanic plate of the Pacific body, that is going under it, which is called submerging under the continental plate of South America. So here the crust is disappearing, and here the crust is appearing as a new body, which is happening at the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so you just understand like this. This is Atlantic Ocean, and here it is Pacific Ocean. Okay, it's not a real picture, but just for the sake of understanding, you can take it. So here, due to sea floor spreading, new crust is created, and here the crust is disappearing here. But when it is disappearing, then it is going under the layers of the soil, and a lot of heat pressure is there, and that's why this is coming out towards surface, and there are major volcanoes all around the Pacific Ocean. So that is why we call it Pacific Rim of Fire, and that's the reason, because the crust is disappearing here, a lot of pressure is creating all around it, and here this is seafloor spreading. So that's happening. So this is as a concept, you can understand it in the easiest form, and I hope you must have understood this. We will repeat it many times later in this year. So let's move forward with this question. Mushroom rocks, cirques, stalagmites, and monadnocks. These are very iconic conceptual topics, and you see these are major landforms created by many forms. You see, rivers, they are also creating some landforms. Groundwater is also creating landforms. Glaciers are also putting their pressure, and they are doing weathering, and they are doing physical impact on the bodies. So let's see with the pictures. Mushroom rocks, you see in the picture, this is called a mushroom rock. The design is a mushroom design. Why this is happening? This is happening because of the wind. Wind acts on the surface more than the aerial part of it. So you see, because of the friction here, the air moves, and a lot of sand particles are there with it, and they are actually rubbing the surface here. So this is how that creates a kind of a surface like that. So it's a aeolian landform created by wind. So mushroom rocks are associated with the desert area, aeolian landform, and the wind is the major force here. Now see, some underground caves are created like that. Why? You see, this is a total hollow surface now, but it was not hollow. It was made up of calcium rocks, and calcium rocks, they can be dissolved by water. So underground water that dissolved this rock here, and you see, this is that the cave we are looking at. This cave is under the ground, under the surface. From above you will not see any difference. Normal mountain you will see, but these are created because these rocks are created of calcium, so they are dissolved by the groundwater. And you see, pores will be created on the surface above. So from there some water would seep in, and you see, this is coming towards the base of it in the forms of droplets. So these droplets, they are solidified in the air, and when they are reaching here on the base. So flowstone, when the base is established here, this is called flowstone. When on the base of this cave, these structures like stupas are created. These are called stalagmites, and this is a column here which is connected till the roof, and it's a drapery. This particular design is drapery. These are stalactites which are hanging. Straws are the smaller ones and the more sharper ones. So this is created because of the groundwater. Groundwater dissolved all the calcium rocks. So this happened, and from where this groundwater came, this may have come from some river water which was flowing above the surface, and it dissolved some calcium rocks which were there present on the surface. So there it dissolved, and it seeped into the underground structure. So this is created by that. Now you see the Inselberg, or we call it the monad rocks. Why? Maybe here a river was working, a river was flowing from here in the past, in lakhs of crores of years back, but that rock is a resistant rock. That is not like this particular surface or the rock. It is a soft rock, and that was taken by the river force, but that could not be taken because it was a resistant rock. It was a very strong rock. So that's why it stayed as a simple and strong rock, and all the area is flattened by the river force. So peneplain is created here. Peneplain is the ultimate aim of the river, and there is no height or depth. This is all a plain, but that could not be created as a plain because it's a resistant rock. So it is created by the river. So monad rocks are created by the rivers. It is also called as Inselberg. And you see, in this picture, there was a glacier, and that had some weight, and because of the weight, this rock should have been looked like this, but now it looks like that because this particular weight was here, and it created an armchair like structure. This is called a cirque. Okay, so it's a cirque. So very important body is created out of the glacier's mass. So that you can see, A would be the answer here. You can understand this thing. We will repeat it in many times. Next question is regarding the departmental standing committees. You see, legislation is the process in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and they bring a lot of bills, and when it is passed, signed by president, then it becomes act. But before that, there is a long process, and out of this process, they need a lot of scrutiny, they need a lot of explanation, questions, counter questions will be there. So they need some specific bodies to scrutinize these bills. So these were created in 1993 as a departmental standing committees. They were 17 in the starting, and they became 24 at present, and they are actually having many experts, and they are having 21 people from Lok Sabha, they are having 10 people from Rajya Sabha, and these are people bringing their expertise in scrutinizing these bills. Okay, so these are associated with particular topics and departments, so departmentally related standing committees. Okay, all bills are not referred to them. That is not correct, because if all bills will be referred to them, then a lot of time will be needed, and no legislation would be completed in the time. So all are not taken to these bodies. Many important bills, they are mainly referred to these bodies, and recommendations are not binding. That is a unfortunate thing. A lot of expert views are here, but these are not binding suggestions, and expert opinions are taken. So the answer would be 1, 2 and 3, because it is asking about the incorrect options. Okay, so that's the case. So you can read all things as a data here. Next, this is a very simple question from the ancient time. You see, Nayanars and Alvars, these two important devotees were there in the Bhakti phase that started around the 10th century. Nayanars were the Shaivites, and Alvars were the Vaishnavites. They were worshipping Vishnu god. So Andal was a very famous female poet at that time, and she was a Alwar poet. And in this way, you see many important women saints were there in this Bhakti movement. Akka Mahadevi was so, Lal Ded was so, Sant Sohara Bai was also a medieval saint, a Bhakti movement saint. But Lokmudra, she belonged to the Vedic time, not from the Bhakti time. So that's a simple question. Many times UPSC asks these kind of questions. So answer would be 1, 2 and 4. B would be the answer here. So many more questions are there, and tell me how do you like the explanation and what kind of improvements are needed here. And we will be continuing this lesson on a daily basis, and I hope it will go for the best, and I need your feedbacks. Thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit Sani. PDF you will get here.